Hello and welcome to Pharma Television News Review here at Oz Biotech in Melbourne, in Australia. On this show, I've got John Holaday, who is CEO and Managing Director of a company called QRX Pharma, based in Queensland. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
John, your company focuses in the area of pain. Tell us the story about QRX, how it was founded, and when you got involved.
Actually, the story of QRX from the point of view of the pain product goes back over 200 years when morphine was first isolated and purified from the opium poppy. And since then, chemists have looked for a better form of morphine for treating moderate to severe pain. And all the chemicals that they've invented, the fentanyls, the oxycodones, etc., in clinical practice show the same side effects, which severely limit the utility of these drugs for treating moderate to severe pain. Nausea, vomiting, constipation, dizziness, sedation, euphoria, respiratory depression, etc. So what we have done is to show that the combination of morphine and oxycodone, when given together, they violate each other's side effect profiles but let the pain relief come through. So it's a way of getting pain relief without the side effects. In many ways, the holy grail of opiate pharmacology. And this was recognized in Queensland at the University of Queensland by Professor Marie Smith. Did the early research with the rats in the white coats and showed synergy on pain relief with fewer side effects. And then that was slowly built from a private founding and early venture money here in Australia into a company that we took public in May of May of 07, time flies. And in that process built up some real value with a number of clinical trials showing that in people, as in rats and mice, you get better pain relief with a 50 to 75% reduction in side effects.
And now, let's go back. When did you actually join the company?
In May of 07, when we took it public, I took the reins from its prior founder, Gary Pace, and in that process, Gary still remains very active with us, but in that process built the value that we now have added through the course of clinical trials to include 2 pivotal studies, one of which is nearing completion, the other which was completed 3 months ago, allowing us to file an NDA within the next few months.
Okay. Let's go back to 2007 still, because it was important, because obviously with that IPO, there's a significant amount of money being raised at the time. Can you tell us about that?
JP Morgan underwrote a $50 million transaction on the ASX, taking us public, which then, and I think still is, the largest life sciences transaction.
Here in Australia?
In Australia, indeed. We took those monies, put them to good use, and did the clinical trial program that has now enabled us to be on the cusp of filing our new drug application.
Right. And clearly it's a combination product. Taking that through the regulatory process, what was it like? Was that difficult?
Well, interestingly enough,
what challenges did you have?
The beauty of this is the fact that we have a composition of matter patent because it was preached against by the authorities like the World Health Organization. They said, never combine 2 powerful opiates. And as scientists often do, Marie Smith combined them and showed these wonderful facts. So by virtue of that, we were able to get composition of matter patent, but because these are old drugs that were teaching new tricks, we have a regulatory status at the FDA called 505(b)(2), which means we've seen these before. I mean, these are old drugs, 200 years old for morphine, 50 for oxycodone, but putting them together is unique. But it's also expected that these have known side effect profiles, and anything you can do to reduce those is something the FDA wants to see. So we've had very good interactions with the Food and Drug Administration as we have tailored our programs to do the pivotal studies necessary for approval.
So you've got operations in the US as well as here in Australia. So what is your strategy for taking this through to market?
We have an exceptional group of people in Bedminster, New Jersey, which is our US operations. We have 3 people in Sydney, and then the rest of us are in New Jersey, a team of totally 14 people in all. And through that team, we're very focused on late stages of clinical development and commercialization, which we've been able to do because of these successful clinical trials. To date, we've performed approximately 1,000 bunionectomies. Bunionectomy is a very serious form of pain, and shown Mox-Duo's effects in that. Also hip replacement, knee replacement studies. We've taken these data and we're ready to file them with the US FDA, and also we've had meetings with the European agencies likewise, so that we'll be hopefully filing our regulatory process in Europe, probably through Germany, right after we file in the US.
Now, you've also got several formulations, because obviously each of these, it's got a broad range of applications. Tell us a little bit about how you've approached that.
The farthest in development is an immediate release formulation for the treatment of acute pain. That's the product that we'll be putting our new drug application in within the next several months. Right behind that is an intravenous formulation, which is useful for hospital-based pain. As you may know, patients are often given a button to push where they get intravenous injections of morphine. Well, we just completed some studies in Germany showing that for the same analgesic dose, it takes less drug, and also the side effects are reduced by about 50 to 75%. And then the farthest back in development is a continuous release, or CR formulation. And that will allow 12 to 14 hours of pain relief. And that will have tamper and abuse resistance features in that as well. That's the largest market, as you may know. OxyContin sells $2.9 billion worth of drugs annually, and globally around almost $6 billion worth of CR drugs in the marketplace. And it's a global market of about $12 billion. So it's one that's looking for something new, looking for something different, as witnessed by the recent acquisition of King Pharma by Pfizer that made that purchase at $3.6 billion to fill their pain space.
Right. So when we've talked about the clinical strategy, what about your partnering strategy? How are you going to take this now to the next commercial stage? Because you're now, as you said, on the cusp of moving into that stage.
It's been great for us that as these data have come in showing the positive results in a very consistent way with all different forms of pain and different routes of administration, that the partners have been knocking on our door. We're in the process right now of engaging in some various serious discussions with some leading pharma companies that are interested in what we're doing, that see the market opportunity, that like the way we've brought it through to this point in time, showing better pain relief and fewer side effects. So the result of that has given us the opportunity to co-promote ultimately into the market. That brings back, I think, a different form of value to our shareholders, but at the same time license with these partners so they can help us pay the costs of end stages development stages for the compounds like the continuous release, et cetera, which is farther back in the pipeline.
Sure. And you said you're in discussions. What's your aim? When would you like to get some sort of deal out and completed?
We anticipate getting our new drug application filed at the end of the first quarter of next calendar year. We may well have something before then to take to the board of directors for consideration with a number of different companies with whom we're speaking. So I would say that within certainly the next year, we'll have a partnering relationship that would allow us to then expand globally and also get into these marketplaces with a little more muscle than we could on our own.
And currently you're also just doing another round of funding, is that correct?
Yes, we just completed a transaction that's actually work in progress, allowing us to raise through a placement here in Australia $14 million with an additional program that allows existing shareholders to purchase further shares, all of which will be concluded in the second week of November, bringing in estimated totally around $18 million for us.
And that's to provide continual momentum to your clinical program and also your partnering program.
Perfect. And one other study that we're very interested in completing is a marketing study showing that we are better than morphine, we're better than oxycodone because of the fewer side effects. And with those claims from this additional study, we hope to get labels that would allow us to make those claims instead of just making them through advertisements.
Sure. And just to make clear, that allows you to reduce the side effects, mean that you can administer higher levels of dose?
Great point, Fintan. One can do two things. One can either give higher levels of morphine or of MOX Duo for opiate pain relief with the same side effects, or on the other side of the coin, give the usual traditional amount of pain relief with a 50 to 75% reduction in side effects. That's the key, though. And if you can show reduced side effects, a better safety profile, you not only benefit the patients, but the doctors. They won't get the calls in the middle of the night to come in and fix the respiratory depression. The reimbursers like it. They'll get out of the hospital faster. They'll get on the bicycles faster and recover earlier. So it's really a combination of events that, by virtue of the side effect benefit, allow us to open market opportunities.
John Holaday, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.